All right, let's dive right into this explainer. The U.S. men's national team just kicked off their 2026 World Cup campaign right here on home soil with a massive, absolutely dominant 4-1 opening win over Paraguay. I mean, what a statement on the pitch. But today, we're going way beyond the box score. We're going to untangle exactly how head coach Mauricio Pochettino has completely transformed this team into such a dynamic force. Literally, almost immediately after the final whistle blew, one specific question sparked a massive, viral debate online among fans and tactical analysts alike. Everyone was trying to figure out the team's defensive shape. Like, were they utilizing a modern three-at-the-back system, or was it a more traditional back four with the fullbacks just pushing way up the pitch? Well, Pochettino himself actually shut down the confusion right in his post-game press conference. He explicitly stated that defensively, they play a back four. But in possession, that's where they shift. He said they build with 3, then 2, and then 5. It's totally fluid. And honestly, it just proves that the old, rigid ways of looking at formations, they just don't apply here.
So, here is our roadmap for today. First, the great formation debate. Then, decoding Pochettino's hybrid system. Third, the rise of Alex Freeman. After that, we'll look at tactical strengths and vulnerabilities, and finally, map out the path to the final.
Starting off with part 1, the great formation debate and dispelling those defensive myths. To understand why fans and the media were getting so tangled up over the team's shape in the first place, you really have to recognize that this squad operates with a brilliant kind of duality. When they have the ball, they're total shapeshifters. They attack with a 3-2-5 structure, literally pinning the opponent's backline with 5 attackers. But, out of possession, they snap right back into a traditional 4-2-3-1 defensive block. So they aren't just one or the other, they're both, dictating their shape entirely based on the state of the game. Moving on to part 2, decoding Pochettino's hybrid system and the mechanics behind this shapeshifter. So how does this actually translate into a cohesive, overwhelming strategy on the pitch? Well, the real engine of Pochettino's setup is what we call the fake wingback. Basically, this is an asymmetrical defender who tucks inside to act as a third center back whenever the U.S. has the ball. This brilliant little rotation is exactly what frees up left back Antonee Robinson to fly forward and attack like an out-and-out winger, all while knowing the right side is safely anchored down to prevent counterattacks. When you break down the phases of play, you really see that the midfield control phase is where the magic happens. By using a 3-2 double pivot, a player like Tyler Adams drops deep to anchor and stabilize the center. Meanwhile, guys like Weston McKennie or Malik Tillman dynamically rotate to progress the ball up the field. It's like this intricate, perfectly timed dance, completely designed to create numerical advantages all over the pitch. Which brings us to part 3, the rise of Alex Freeman, the 21-year-old linchpin of it all. Now, a system this complex requires a highly specific type of player to pull it off. In fact, this entire setup relies heavily on one absolute breakout protagonist playing that demanding fake wingback role. And his meteoric rise, it's nothing short of incredible. Between 2022 and 2024, Alex Freeman was grinding it out in the MLS Next Pro Reserves with Orlando City. Then, late 2025 hits, he breaks out, and boom, he's named MLS Young Player of the Year. That immediately earns him a massive $7 million transfer to Villarreal in Spain. And now, June 2026, he is starting in a World Cup opener. Oh, and a quick fun fact, as a kid, he actually chose soccer over American football. Good choice, right? His impact out there is absolutely undeniable. At 6'2", his imposing physical frame, combined with some seriously high tactical intelligence, makes him the perfect fit for Pochettino. Against Paraguay, the kid was a monster. He won 6 aerial duels, totally shut down his side of the pitch defensively, and even pushed up to assist Gio Reyna's spectacular stoppage-time goal. All right, part 4, tactical strengths and vulnerabilities. We're talking a massive ceiling, but some pretty alarming flaws. Look, as much as we can praise the setup and guys like Freeman, we've got to be objective here and do a reality check on the underlying data. First off, the strengths are obvious. Over 65% possession, 16 total shots, and 22 dribbles won in that opener. For U.S. fans who are used to grinding defensive struggles, this proves the attacking setup works beautifully. It's fast, it's vertical, and it lets stars like Folarin Balogun, who scored a first-half brace, by the way, and Christian Pulisic completely thrive in transition. When this team clicks, no joke, they are genuinely devastating. But here is what you absolutely need to take away from this explainer. The system masks some glaring vulnerabilities.
When those fullbacks push high, the defense is left wide open to rapid counterattacks. The team also suffers from alarming defensive lapses during set pieces, which, remember, is exactly how Paraguay got their lone goal. Most terrifying of all, though, is the roster construction itself. There is a severe lack of central midfield depth if, say, Tyler Adams gets hurt or suspended. Plus, they're relying really heavily on Matt Freese, an inexperienced MLS goalkeeper, under the most intense pressure imaginable.
Finally, Part 5, the path to the final, a knockout bracket reality check. So, what do those tactical flaws actually mean over the course of a grueling, month-long tournament? Let's zoom out to the macro level and look at their actual World Cup knockout prospects. If they manage to win Group D, Scenario A outlines a pretty favorable run. Step 1, they play a third-place team in San Francisco. Step 2, they ride a massive home field advantage in Seattle to potentially push past a talented but vulnerable Belgium side in the round of 16. That could land them right in a quarterfinal in Los Angeles. But that is exactly where they'd hit a massive roadblock against Spain's elite metronomic midfield. However, if they stumble even a little and finish second in their group, the Opta supercomputer projection shows a terrifying Scenario C. It creates an absolutely brutal path. A round of 32 matchup with a round in Arlington puts them on a direct collision course with defending champion Argentina in Atlanta, followed potentially by Portugal in Kansas City. I mean, it is a complete gauntlet. Which all brings us to this final, very sobering number, 1.21%. That is the exact probability the Opta supercomputer currently gives the U.S. men's national team to win the whole tournament. They are a dark horse, definitely not a favorite. So, the ultimate question I want to leave you with today is this. Can Mauricio Pochettino's tactical masterclass, fueled by the spectacular rise of players like Alex Freeman, actually defy the cold, hard math and shock the world's elite? It is going to be an absolutely fascinating month ahead.